If you are new to computer programming and you do not have experience, writing an effective resume may be hard. So in this video, I'm going to show you a couple tricks to write an effective resume for an entry-level computer programmer. The first thing on your resume should be your information. Should be your first name, last name, your email address. If you have a website or a portfolio website, you can include that at the top, and your telephone number. Now, you do not need to put an address on your resume. You will put your address on the application or when you get selected for the interview. What you don't do as well on your resume is include a picture of yourself. I've seen a lot of resumes out there for computer programming where there is pictures on that resume. That is very unnecessary. Do not include any pictures of yourself for any type of resume. It doesn't matter if it's entry level or just a senior software developer. The next thing you'd want to do is just give a brief summary about yourself. So just let them know you are a recent computer programmer graduate and you specialize in software development, web development, and just put a little brief statement or brief sentence about yourself. At this point, you want to sell yourself a little bit to the hiring manager. After the summary of your resume, a lot of people may tend to put their education, especially if they have a degree in computer science. Let me give you a little tip. Hiring managers don't really care about your education. They want to see your projects. They want to know what you're good at. They want to know your skills. What can you bring to the company? How can you contribute to a leading team? So your education does play a role, but it's not the most important aspect of your resume. I highly recommend that you put your qualifications, you sell yourself a little bit. Employees want to know about you as a person and how skillful you are. The next thing you can do is highlight your technical skills. So you want to let them know which operating system you are very efficient in. For this resume, I'm very efficient in Windows, Linux, Mac. There are many other operating systems that is out there, but I'm not so good at it, like for example Ubuntu or FreeBSD, I think it is. I'm not very proficient at those applications or those OS, so I did not include it. Next, you want to highlight the languages you're good at. Now, this is a very tricky part. A lot of people, if they practice it for 1-2 days, they feel like they can put it on a resume and they can be good at it. Now, I do not recommend that. Put programming languages that you are very efficient in. So if you are efficient in C, C++, Python, put those languages. Do not put languages that you only spend a day on. A lot of people, if they spend 1 day with JavaScript, they feel like they know JavaScript, so I'm going to put JavaScript on my resume. And when it comes to interview question, or if you get hired for the role and they want you to do JavaScript, then what's going to happen? So do not put languages that you only spend a day on. Then you also want to put your database. If you worked with SQL Server or Oracle, include the designs or IDEs. Now, I've worked with Visual Studio, Xcode, SQL Developer, Microsoft SQL Server, IBM I, UML. So put all of those things that you work with and that you are comfortable with. Let them know which IDE. If you use code blocks, you can put code blocks. A lot of people like Sublime Text. I'm not very good at Sublime Text. A lot of people like Eclipse. I'm not very good at Eclipse either. Also, you can put Visual Studio Code. That's most new developers use Visual Studio Code for web development. So you can include that as well. This is the part where you shine on your resume. Yes, you can do that. A lot of people think you cannot do that on a resume. You can totally do that. You can highlight your project or put your projects on your resume. So under the project section, you can add your link to GitHub. You can add link to your personal website. You can add link to any website or any software that you work on that you can showcase. This part of the resume is where you sell yourself, you showcase your skills to that hiring manager. So sell yourself on that part. Another thing you can do, you can create a portfolio and add all of those projects to a portfolio, which is a better option. If you ask me, you can create a single portfolio, but if you create just one website, I don't think you should create a whole website just to showcase one project. You can just totally add your project to your resume. And then you want to highlight your education. So at this part, you can showcase your education. As I said before, I don't recommend you having your education above or on top of the resumes, because companies or hiring managers don't really care about your education. They care about your skills, what you can do. So you can put your education just on the second page of your resume. Now, you also want to highlight your skills and experience. Yes, you can add extra skills. A lot of people would leave this part out because they already feel like they highlight some of their skills in the highlights of qualification section, but you can add your extra skills at the bottom. It's okay. You're selling yourself. Do it. Just talk about yourself, talk about what you can do, showcase yourself to that hiring manager. So for skills, you can showcase your hard skills, so like web development, software development, database, command line, Azure, Git, GitHub. And GitHub is actually a skill. I met one programmer before, and he was really shocked that I had Git and GitHub as a skill. Git and GitHub is totally a skill. Now, if you are copying and pasting your code on the website itself, that's really not a skill, because you need to know the command line tools and the command to add repository or create repositories on GitHub. So you need to know the command to upload or to create a repository or push your project to the main repositories. You need to know those things. You need to know how to move from branches to branches with the checkout command. So once you know all of those things, you can add that on your resume as a skill, and that is classified as a hard skill. You can also do soft skills. So the soft skills are selling yourself to the hiring manager. Let them know a little bit about you, about your personality, about your characteristics, and how you are in a work environment. So if you can adapt to things fast, you want to put adaptability. You have logical thinking, you think fast, you're very good at problem solving, you can put that there. You are dependable, you always show up on time, you always show up for work, you can put that there. Effective communication, you know how to communicate back and forth about the project, you can totally put that there as well. Self-direction, you know exactly where you want to go, how you're going to get there. You know you can break down your projects into modular programming and get them together. So you are very self-direction. Also driven. You have the drive to get up and go to work and work on that project. You also want to let them know you're good at teamwork. You can work with peers. You can work together without conflict. And when you are working with team, you can communicate well with each and every team member. And that will make the project goes a little bit faster, safer, and complete on time. You also have flexibility. Let them know you are a very flexible candidate. If they want you to do overtime, you can do overtime. If you are not flexible, do not put it in your resume. If you have children, if you have school, and you only set from a 9 to 5, an 8-hour shift, don't put flexibility, because a lot of companies would love people who can do some overtime, and that includes on the weekend. Another thing, certificates. If you have extra certificates on your resume, you can put that on your resume as well. If you have any cloud computing certificate, and I highly recommend that if you are an entry level to computer programming, you get a certificate either in AWS or Microsoft Azure. Just get an extra certificate. Take a week to study those two things. It's not necessary that you have it, but it can make you stand out, because a lot of companies right now is going for the cloud computing and storing their database and storing their information on the cloud. So a lot of companies are looking for candidates like that. Just an extra little tip for you there. And then you come to the employment history. Now, the reason why I left this employment history at the bottom of the page, because the resume is about entry-level computer programmer. Now, that means you do not have any employment history or experience. So I'm guessing because you are an entry-level and you're looking for an entry-level job, or because you're writing an entry level resume, you do not have computer programming employment history. So you have to put that part at the bottom, because your employment history currently have nothing to do with a computer programmer. So the hiring manager do not care about that. For example, if you are a cashier or a barista, or you work at a clothing store, you do customer service, you from accounting, and you're coming into computer programming, your employment history is not that important for the role, because that employment history have nothing to do with computer programming. So that's why I put that information at the bottom of the page. However, if you have experience in computer programming and you work at XYZ company for how many years doing C, C++, Python, then I would recommend that you put the employment history above your resume, so it will go right under the summary or the qualifications. So you want to highlight what you did, and that highlighting your previous your previous employment history in computer programming, that's part of selling yourself to the hiring manager. And that's all for this video. You can check me out on all the other videos. I have great tutorials, great talk, and just great things on my channel. So please like, subscribe, share this video, and you guys subscribing, liking, commenting on this video gives me the energy to create more videos. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.